What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to Blazers Uprise Live. We got Eric and we got Reese on the stream for today. They are currently taking a work break. So, what's going on? Welcome to the stream, Reese. You've been in chat. What's it like being on the other side of things?
It's different for sure. It's a lot more fun.
Yeah, probably be a lot more fun. Too bad we don't have more games to pick from today. Eric, how's your day going, man?
Pretty crazy, but one of those days.
One of those days. Yeah, so how long are you planning on staying, Reese? You staying for the whole thing? You staying for picks? What's the plan here? Well, I guess I should be asking Eric this.
I told him I didn't care. He punched out for lunch.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, so we got 3 games for picks against the spread. We'll talk a little bit of trade. Probably won't go super long, but we just had the first in-season trade of the season with Rajon Rondo getting traded from the Lakers to the Cleveland Cavaliers to try and replace Ricky Rubio. I don't think he's a good replacement for Ricky Rubio. He's worse than Ricky Rubio, but the Cavs doing what they can to they've bitten the injury bug this year, which sucks because they've been really good, and they've lost Rubio, they've lost Sexton, so they needed a guard. We'll talk about how that might affect the Blazers later on in this stream, but first off, we have 3 games, all tipping off at 4 p.m. today, tipping off around 4:10 p.m. Right now it's 4 p.m., so we got to get through picks against the spread. One game has been postponed today. That was Golden State going into Denver. But as we look at the standings, Jackson needs to chill. Jackson needs to chill, all right? Jackson, every stream, I gotta do my research. Wait, I'm looking at things. And every stream, it's like Jackson goes 6-2. Jackson, make this interesting for the rest of us. Just tank a couple days. Pick the opposite of what you would pick, because right now, you're really hard to catch up to. I've been doing good, and I still can't really gain ground right now. I go 5-3 and lose a game. So Jackson needs to chill. Chat's in 3rd. Trevin's in 4th. Eric had a good Monday. He is now tied with Zach for 5th. Zach is the worst double downer, 5-15. That's rough. Reese, you kind of broke out of your slump a little bit.
Yeah, finally.
Are you feeling the momentum?
Not really, but we'll see.
Not really. Yeah, let's just hop into things. We got Philadelphia going into Brooklyn. Brooklyn's a 5-point favorite. Eric, start saying a bunch of names.
All right, so Doc Rivers is out coaching the Sixers, or he's out of this game. Danny Green, Ben Simmons, and Tyler Johnson for the Sixers all out. And these teams are actually kind of getting people back. So Kyrie was cleared, but it's a home game, so we can't play. Joe Harris, Kessler Edwards, and Day'Ron Sharpe are all out. David Duke Jr. was questionable, but he probably doesn't matter with Durant back and Harden playing.
Okie dokie. All right, so let me get the chat poll in there. We're not gonna have to complain about Reese for waiting too much. That's.
So yeah, it looks like Sixers should have Maxey, Curry, Tobias, Embiid, etc. And then the Nets have Harden and Durant, Claxton, Aldridge, Patty Mills. So yeah.
I'm not comfortable with this spread. I don't know what to make of Philadelphia. They've been... I don't know. With Embiid, they've obviously been better, but...
I'm not
going to pick first. That's all I'm going to say. You're going Nets. All right, Reese, what you going with?
I think I'm going to go with the Nets. I don't trust the 76ers enough to pick them.
All right. Eric's going Nets. Jackson says he'll have a bad day. Zach says he's going Brooklyn. Chris says he's going Philly. I mean... You got Matisse to throw up against KD. I don't know. Dude, I'm just going to overthink this, honestly. Jackson's going Nets. I am going to take the Nets. Not fun. Chris is probably going to get another island. But it is what it is.
Is Trevin here?
Trevin better be here. Because all these games start at 4. If he's not here, we're going to have somebody pick for him. Luckily, it's only 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you want to tab as the alternate for Trevin?
I don't know. Did someone message him?
Yeah, somebody message him. Brees, you got that. That'll be your job today. Find Trevin. Oh,
there
Trevin's there. Nets. Never mind. Your job's canceled. All right, so Trevin's going Nets. And then chat is also going to go with the Brooklyn Nets. So a good old Krish Island had a lot of them. And I feel like there's at least one every stream. Good old phone call. Somebody's trying to get in touch with Eric, but I don't care. We're moving on. Orlando's hosting Milwaukee. Milwaukee's a 14-point road favorite.
So Milwaukee actually is pretty healthy. They still have Brook Lopez out, obviously, with the back surgery. And Semi Ojeleye got put on protocols today, but it looks like pretty much everyone else is back for them. Hence the large spread. And for the Magic, Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, Mo Bamba, Robin Lopez, Markelle Fultz, Jonathan Isaac, Etuan Moore, Chuma Okeke, Terrence Ross, Michael Mulder, Michael Carter-Williams, and Hassani Garrett are all out.
Grab it,
sorry. I couldn't read my own handwriting.
Don't respect the great Hassani Gravett, man.
Yeah.
All right. There's the chat poll. Jackson's going with the Bucks. I am going to go with the Bucks.
I think I'm going to go with the Bucks. I think it's going to be a blowout in the first half.
All right. So you only want one half to get the spread.
Yeah.
Reese got it.
Yeah, I take that.
All right.
The first half over. I'm taking the Bucks as well.
Yeah, I already know Krish is going to go Magic. Yep, there it is. Tank season in full effect. Shout out to Apple's 3 Australian dollar donut. Says sources say Eric Brandt has agreed to a super max. Congrats, Eric.
I play for free, but they wanted to give me a super max, so I couldn't turn it down.
Yeah, man, you were arguing that you didn't want it, and they were arguing that you deserved it. So, yeah, that sucks, man.
Or I
You're
could
gonna get
respond
paid.
by saying, "Learn the CBA, Apples. You can't offer me a super max right now. I'm not eligible. I have to play for him first."
Zach's going Bucks. Wait, what did I just click on? Okay. In chat's going Bucks right now. I'm not going to do percentages for the double down. I'm going to have chat vote because there's only 3 games. It's always fun to do that. So Krish is basically just against the world. This is what this episode of Picks Against the Spread is going to be. Game number 3, you got Cleveland going into the nation's capital as the Wizards are a 4.5-point home favorite. Eric, names, please.
Cavaliers have Sexton, Rubio, Garland, Osman, Jared Allen all out. Wizards have Dinwiddie now in the protocols, Thomas Bryant, Rui Hachimura, Montrezl Harrell, Aaron Holiday, Raul Neto, and Bertans all out. But Beal was questionable. Looks like he's going to play along with KCP is playing as well.
Who's out for the Cavs again?
Sexton, Rubio, Garland, and Jared Allen, Cedi Osman.
Okay, Garland, Jared Allen, Cedi Osman, out of the guys that aren't out for the season.
Mm-hmm. So they got Mobley and Okoro versus Beal and who?
Gafford.
Gafford.
Yeah, Beal.
Denny Avdia.
Jackson's going Wizards. Zach's going Cavs.
I think I'm going to go Cavs. That's a tough one.
Yeah, I don't like this.
I'm going to take the Wizards.
The Cavs got Kevin Love.
Yeah,
he's had some decent games
he's been
lately.
playing amazing.
What's up, Polly Ross? I'll read off your donation in just a moment.
Yep. Almost through with this. Trevin's going Wizards. So just for the sake of the pattern, I gotta go Cavs, don't I?
I mean, if you want to vote based on patterns like Zach would, that's cool. Or if you want to...
No, that's not smart. That's not smart.
I mean, you could take the Cavs because you want to take.
Oh well, Chris is going Wizards. There's no pattern anymore. Thanks, Chris. I'm gonna go Wizards.
Wizzeliers.
Yeah. And then chat looks like they're going with the Cavaliers, actually. So we got Zach Reese chat with the Cavs. Everybody else is going with the Wizards. Let's jump straight into the double downs. I will give you guys a double down poll. I'll go through the spreads once I put the poll in chat. Yeah, let me put this in chat first.
Okay.
What were their 3 picks? The last one was Cavs. What was the first 2 again?
Bucks -14 and Nets -5.
Okay. And it was the Cavs plus 4.5.
Chris's double down is Philly.
You said the Nets were -5?
Yep.
Okay. Chris, Philly, alright.
Connor's telling me to get in the frame. Sorry, Connor. My bad. I'm letting Reese dominate the airtime since he
I respect that.
doesn't get much.
I'll just do this for now. There. Perfect. And I won't remember to fix it until next stream. We'll get to the slide and Eric will have his whole screen. Zach's going Nets. What are you guys going with?
I am going Nets as well. It's probably not good to go with Zach, but
I'm gonna go Bucks.
Alright, Reese going Bucks. I want to see what Jackson's going, and then I want to make my pick.
Trevin's going Nets.
Alright.
Robin Lopez won't have his unstoppable hook shot, so I gotta go with the Bucks.
Bro, that off arm, like shoot it from the hip. Was that you that I was having that conversation with?
Yeah, I was like, why doesn't he just score like 25 points a game just doing that? Because he could.
I wonder what his percentage is on shooting that.
I remember reading something, it was like 70%. It was something insane like that.
There was one season it was like 80%.
Yeah.
I think his Wizard season.
So Jackson goes Bucks. Jackson stole my double down on last Monday. The Spurs barely covered. He got lucky as hell. And I picked a different double down, and I lost it because I, wanted to gain a game on Jackson. I'm not going to do that today. All my picks are the same as Jackson. Screw you, Jackson. Stop picking the right games. I am going with the Bucks.
Okay.
And right now it looks like chat's leaning Bucks. You got 50% Bucks, 25% for the Nets and Cavs, so I don't think either of those teams are going to make it up. You got chat going Bucks, so everybody's going Bucks or Nets except for Krish. Krish is on an island with his double down even, so
nice.
Alright, so let me just put this in here. Bucks. Alright, that is picks against the spread. Super quick segment. Let's one more look at the standings. Once again, all these games are tipping off at 4:10 p.m. So they've actually already all tipped. But obviously we're not paying attention to the scores, so we are good to go. I don't know if you've been on Twitter at all during the stream. Do you know what Rajon Rondo got traded for yet?
Let me see if there's an update on that.
Yeah, so Rajon Rondo is getting traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs earlier they lost Colin Sexton, they just lost Ricky Rubio, so they needed a guard, and they're obviously not exactly in rebuild mode at the moment. Their rebuild has gotten them to the point where they are winning games. They're 20-14, so going for a veteran player to try and replace Ricky Rubio's production off the bench. I expect them to maybe look to add a shooting guard at some point this season. We might have two that they might be interested in. So it was interesting to see this trade because Cleveland is, I think, going to be an active team around the trade deadline.
So both Woj and Shams just say they're nearing a deal. It's not. I don't think it's quite official yet.
Yeah, but whenever they both tweet that, it's official.
No,
and if,
I know.
if
Just
they
saying
walk that back, then
the
I'll
official
walk that back.
trade is not like what
Got
they're
you,
getting
okay.
back. Is what I'm saying.
Okay.
But I believe Rondo is on a minimum,
Yeah.
so he could be traded for. Yeah, he is. So he could be traded for no salary going back. So maybe it's just for like a second round pick to clear up a roster spot for the Lakers or something.
Yeah. I mean, we probably won't talk about this a whole lot. I just thought that was interesting just as the first trade that it broke like while I was setting up this stream. So I changed the title, changed the thumbnail, maybe grabbed a couple extra viewers. I don't know. But let's think
Rondo is in the protocol still. And Antonio, it's not my son. This is Reese, the mod.
Eric's son. I mean,
Connor says
figuratively, maybe. I don't know. I'm just kidding. Polly Ross, $2 dono says, with Simon's down, sign Jeremy Lin, bring in Scal. Yeah, let's just use this as a segue. All right. Thank you, Polly Ross, for the $2 dono. So, Simon's health and safety protocols. He will be out. What is the new minimum quarantine time now?
It's like 5 or 6 days with 2 positive tests or something. Yeah,
5 or 6
or 2
days.
negative
All right.
tests, obviously, not positive.
Yeah. Positive is bad. Negative is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I assume we signed with someone because we also Brandon Williams is in health and safety protocols now too. So we did lose 2 guards. So I expect to maybe see us sign another guard. But Jaron Cumberland could get some PT. I don't know. Jeremy Lin would be kind of a guy who's played in the NBA recently and somebody you could trust. I think in an NBA game, it would be interesting to sign Jeremy Lin. What are both of your thoughts on Jeremy Lin as a potential 10-day signing?
To be honest, I'd rather have Jeremy Lin on my team than Rajon Rondo. So I think I'd be fine with Jeremy Lin.
I mean, honestly, I don't know if I'm Rajon Rondo's a smart guy, though, and maybe he'll punch somebody in the face when they don't defend. But yeah, I kind of like young guys, but it would be nice to have a vet like that. What do you think?
Yeah, I really like Jeremy Lin. It's someone that I've always wanted the Blazers to kind of sign, so I wouldn't be upset with that. But I also agree that I like so far Cronin's philosophy of trying to find players that not only are like unproven, but have a chance of maybe showing out and playing hard and stuff like that. Not saying Jeremy Lin wouldn't; he obviously would, but I kind of like young players over that, especially where our team is at right now. If we were a little higher in the standings, I would be for sure saying to bring in some vets so we can kind of calm the storm here. But we should be getting most of our guys back within the next week. So I don't think it really matters that much. I don't know how much Jeremy Lin's willing to come sign for a 10-day contract and not for the rest of the season with another team.
And here's the thing, it might be a guy who's like in LA on a G League contract since we play in LA tomorrow.
Yeah.
Somebody that they don't have to fly in, somebody that can meet them at the stadium, somebody that they could sign tonight and they'd be ready to go by tomorrow. So I don't... Is there only one G League team in LA? Like the Agua Caliente Clippers or whatever it is?
I think the Lakers have one too. I'm not sure if it's in LA or not, but
they got like the South Bay Lakers, right?
South Bay. There's a ton of bays in California. Where's South Bay?
I'm pretty sure.
That sounds right. I just
yeah, I think they both have one.
Yeah, so like a Nate Darling.
Yeah.
You got, let's see. Their roster is really small. I wonder if that's because their players have gotten poached due to this. Harry Giles is on the Agua Caliente Clippers. So if we ended up needing a big tomorrow. But yeah, they got like Nate Darling. They got a couple of two-way guys. Jordan Ford, who played at St. Mary's. He was a good college guard. But yeah, other than that, they don't really. Keaton Wallace, I've never heard of him.
we have 9 guys right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
If that rumor's true that we could get Watford back tomorrow, we'd have 10. I don't know if they... I mean, I'm sure they will sign someone because they can, but I don't know if we necessarily have to by tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, just who's the backup point guard then?
My mom wants it to be CJ Ellaby.
I mean, that's probably who it would have to be,
Yeah.
unless you're going to play Watford at the backup
I'd play
point.
Cumberland at backup point, actually.
Oh, Cumberland going to get some time, you're right. As far as the... I don't know how up-to-date this roster is. Does Andre Ingram still play in the G League?
I don't know.
Because he's on their roster.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I think this is updated. Frank Mason is on the Lakers G League team. Other than that, dude, these rosters are so light. I see 8-9 players and 2 of them are two-ways. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a Nate Darling or a Frank Mason just because they're down in LA and could join the team right away. And if they sign someone, I expect them to do it in the next couple of hours, most likely, as soon as possible.
It was kind of weird, though, because we heard about Perry before the Dallas game, and then he didn't sign officially until the day after the Dallas game. So
Antonio J. Scrub is a two-way with the Clippers. So I wasn't saying two-way guys because we can't sign them.
Yeah.
I was just trying to guess it. Some obscure names in which we could sign. But, I mean, the Lakers have sucked. We've sucked. I don't know. What are your thoughts on tomorrow? Do you actually think we have a chance of winning that game, given how bad the Lakers have been? Or kind of what's your feeling with that?
Yeah, we for sure have a chance of winning any game.
Well,
really.
yeah, a chance but
yeah,
a realistic shot.
I mean, I don't know. They got LeBron, right? They have Melo.
Oh God, yeah.
Westbrook.
Well, if he has a bad shooting game, he could help us win.
Yeah, I mean, if Dame gets heated because of Westbrook's antics, I could see him having a huge game and carrying us to a win. But it's definitely going to be tough without hardly any main rotation depth.
Yeah, we just got to defend, man. Honestly, though, they got guys that don't necessarily make you have to play good defense in order to shut them down. They kind of shut themselves down, which is Melo and Westbrook, right? So if Westbrook is just pulling up for jumpers and you can kind of sag on him and he's not hitting them, and then you get, rebounds, runouts off of it, that could be interesting. The Lakers are an old team, so if we're small and younger, we should hypothetically be able to outrun them in the open court. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for tomorrow. Is how do we guard LeBron? Because it starts with LeBron, right? And then they got a couple shooters. They got a Malik Monk, who's kind of mostly a spot-up guy. He can make plays, but he's not going to do a bunch on his own. Their second and third guys who do stuff on their own are Westbrook and Melo, who aren't... I don't know. I could see us getting away with playing mediocre defense on them and them just having super inefficient nights.
Well, here's the deal with Westbrook. You can go under picks on him. You can go through picks slowly and still be okay as long as he doesn't turn the corner and get to the rim. But you want to kind of dare him to shoot. If he makes it, you live with it. But the thing you absolutely cannot do on Westbrook is switch the big onto him because he is a good passer and he's got the size to pass over the top of a big and the athleticism to still jump and pass. So if we do the constant switching crap, Westbrook is going to have a field day lobbing it up to LeBron or whoever else is in the game because we won't be able to stop that if that happens.
So we're going to switch. So that's what you're telling me is we're going to switch everything. Cool. Ian GBC says, why is Reese there? Reese, why are you here?
Because I got work and Eric invited me to join, so I said okay.
Reese works at my business and he was here today. Since it's off for holiday break from school, he's working some different shifts than he normally does and was here. And I was like, hey, you want to come on stream? And so, yeah, just a cool opportunity.
Yeah, because he's a mod, So, I don't know. Reese, feel free to butt in at any time. I know you're being you're being a little quiet, but I know you got some strong opinions on everything. So, don't be scared to let them fly.
All right.
So
Good.
What you got? Nah, what you got?
So I think to me it just depends like who they start, because are they either going to go big with like Dwight Howard or DeAndre Jordan, or are they going to go small with LeBron? Because LeBron at center has worked out like really, really good for them. So, and I think Larry Nance is a pretty good fit to like put on LeBron. So I think it just depends what they throw out. And if they throw out like DeAndre Jordan, we should take advantage of, because like DeAndre Jordan is terrible. So we just need to take advantage.
Yeah, don't switch point guards onto him, that type of stuff. But they've been better with LeBron at the small ball 5, but we match up better with LeBron at the small ball 5 than maybe a Dwight Howard or DeAndre Jordan, because then Nance can guard him, and it actually works out. It matches up pretty well for us, better than the last couple games, because that's what sucked losing Nurkic for these 2 games, is you got 7'3" Porzingis going off against us, and then you got Rudy Gobert. We got Larry Nance Jr. on Rudy Gobert, who's maybe the biggest center in the league, because I don't count Kristaps as a center. And I'm not talking about Taco freaking Fall. The biggest, starting center in the league. Like, that's a tough matchup for Larry Nance. So it kind of sucked losing Nurkic for the stretch of games. But if the Lakers go small, it'll work out just fine from a matchup perspective. We just got to be able to defend. And then hopefully Westbrook doesn't go off against us. Dame has to hit shots. That's that sort of thing. It's more of kind of a normal game plan despite us being small and short-handed. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know.
We know if LeBron goes off, there's nothing really you can do about it. So you let him get his, kind of like what the Grizzlies did. I think he had, 37 last night or something, and they still lost.
He's been going off, yeah.
Yeah, so he's on fire right now, so let him get his. Just don't let, a guy like Malik Monk hit a bunch of threes or someone unheralded, so stay home. Just stay in front of LeBron. Try not to let him get easy run-outs to the basket or get downhill off pick and roll. And just, play him straight up, I think, is the best. Try not to switch. Try to box out their bigs, and if they're in the game. Mm-hmm. And I think we'd be fine. I think we actually match up pretty well without Anthony Davis in that matchup.
Yeah, I agree. They don't have any bigs who can, take the ball under the basket and create their own shot. In the past games they had Gobert and Kristaps who just abused us, but this game they have Dwight Howard and DeAndre Jordan as their 2 bigs, so they're not really going to do much. So I think we're going to be fine for the center position.
Yeah, you just can't make things easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what it comes down to, is just I agree with all of that, but we've seen this team just switch point guards onto 7-footers so much that that's what I'm worried about. So, if that's what we do, expect a New Year's Eve rant, the final rant of 2021, after DeAndre Jordan goes off for 30 points because they just lob it over the top and he has Damian Lillard on him. I'm hoping that's not the case tomorrow. Let's finish off this year strong. Hopefully we can get a win over the Lakers. We'll be live tomorrow night. Show's probably going to be a little bit shorter because it's a 7:30 p.m. tip time, which pisses me off, right? New Year's Eve, we have to play in LA, but not only that, it's 7:30 p.m. start time. I don't like that. We'll be live around 10 p.m., but it's probably going to result in me just chilling on my own at midnight, watching ABC or some crap, I don't know. But we will be live tomorrow, just probably cut it short before New Year's. Or if you guys really want me to count down the year, maybe I'll do that, if you're lucky. Anyway, let's talk trades. I don't know, we talked trades last night. This is a good segment for Reese as he yawns. But go ahead, Eric. What you got?
I was just saying, Connor says all of what we're saying makes sense, which means we're not going to do any of it.
Exactly. That's the thing, is I don't even really want to preview games because everything I say that's smart, I feel like won't happen. So what's the point in even bringing it up? So that's kind of how I'm feeling right now.
Mm-hmm.
But so
as for trades, I'm almost 100% in the trades that don't necessarily make us better this year camp.
yeah.
I'm almost to the point where giving up on this year. Now, of course, Cronin could make a big move and it could change me back to the other way. But every time I try to think about trades, I always find myself wandering towards the trade so-and-so for like picks and young players instead of for like Jeremy Grant or someone that like doesn't really like change our ceiling that much this year.
Yeah, I agree with that. So do you want me to discuss my dream front court? Do you want to? I talked about it on the GC last night. Okay, I found my dream front court. Okay, chat. Let me see if you can guess my dream front court. Front court meaning small forward, power forward, center. I want to see if anybody can get close to it. This would be my dream front court going into next year, which would probably be pretty much impossible to put together. But I do have 3 trades saved that I can show you guys to maybe accomplish it. Half these people are in GC, so they're gonna know anyway, because I talked about it last night, so that was dumb, but
one person's gonna surprise people.
Yeah.
Coming around on him.
I mean, well, I'm coming around with him if we get the other 2 guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So my dream front court is Ben Simmons, Chet Holmgren, Miles Turner.
Yeah.
That is my dream front court, right?
That's insane defensively.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, we could start Dame and like if we trade CJ, we could start Dame and Simons, and I still think we'd be potentially a top 5 defense because if you had Simmons, Chet, and Turner in the front court defensively, that's insane. And then AJ says no offense though. I don't agree with that because Chet and Miles Turner can both shoot threes, so you have 4 shooters around Ben Simmons when he has the ball. Right? And you could do some things with that. And then, Dame, can Chet and Turner can spot up. You can run some Dame Simmons pick and roll. It actually functions okay offensively, right? The thing is, I could show you guys the trades that I came up with to get there because I kind of want both of your opinions, Eric and Reese, on it. But that's kind of my dream front court. If we just struggled and we're at the deadline and don't have a good record and could finally pull off a Simmons trade and maybe get Turner too and tank the rest of the year, that's kind of the dream.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be open to seeing that. I don't know. Like, it always comes back to me, like, are you going to show your trades or?
Yes.
Okay, I'll wait.
Do you want me to
I'll
right
wait
now?
to comment till
okay.
we get
okay,
to
let me load up an image here. Let me title it trades. By the way, the trade machine I use, I know a lot of you guys probably use ESPN. ESPN kind of sucks as a trade machine. Go to fanspo.com, fanspo.com. That's what I use, all right?
I just wish they would put McLemore in our salary thing so our salary thing is right on there when we do trades.
Yeah. So this is my first trade, right? This is the typical...
I'd like that.
This is the typical, Rocco to Chicago, Derek Jones Jr. to a third team, our first back to us from Chicago. I was trying to think of what team would like a Derek Jones Jr., and I think the Hornets would actually be a good fit for him because they play a really fast tempo. They have, Mason Plumlee can pass, LaMelo Ball can pass, Rozier can pass a little bit. They have some guys that can throw lobs, and then they need a little bit more defensively, so I feel like Derek Jones Jr. would be a good landing spot for them. What do you guys think about that?
I don't think it's bad. I think they'd want more of an athletic center than or big than a small forward, but I don't think it's terrible.
Yeah, I agree with Eric. I feel like Naz Reid would be like a perfect fit with the Hornets. He's just like a rim running center, but I think this trade is fine.
Yeah, but I mean, my idea, they could still go out and get that guy, right?
For sure.
Because I don't know what to do better with the screen, by the way. This is kind of what we got. But, they're only trading Ish Smith and Vernon Carey here. So I think they would do that for Derek Jones and then maybe... but that's salary that they could use elsewhere, so that's kind of questionable. But this could be any third team. That's the thing with the Rocco to the Bulls trade, is it can be any. The third team in this deal can be any team. Now, we can't take back Derrick Jones Jr. because we traded him, so that's why we need to send him to a third team. Otherwise, we could just do a 2-team trade between the Blazers and the Bulls. But, I mean, any team that wants Derrick Jones Jr. and would just be willing to give up the salary to match would work in this scenario. So, this was my first... I feel like Chicago would be interested in bringing back Tony Snell, too.
Yeah. It's possible. I don't know if they give up both the first and Troy Brown, maybe with Snell in there.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, you could probably take Snell out and take Brown out and be fine, So this was just kind of an idea. But, we get our first back, which opens up the potential to trade future first, which is going to come into play in a second. All right, trade number 2.
Oh,
doesn't...
real quick. I'm almost to the point where I'm going to be mad if we don't trade Covington to the Bulls.
Yeah.
Jesus. I keep.
Yeah. So is the dude. You're getting callers from chat, man. That's.
Dude, I've muted the phone 8 times and it keeps freaking
still going off.
So annoying.
Yeah, Rocco to the Bulls makes too much sense. Get our pick back. Rocco makes a lot of sense for them. Derrick Jones Jr. to a third team. That trade needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely needs to happen.
Yep.
So fingers crossed for that. Because it just trading Rocco for another team's first isn't as good as trading Rocco for our first back.
Well, it kind of depends on what it is. Well, if we suck this year, I think that's your plan, right?
Yeah, but it's just the reason why it's better is just because it increases our flexibility because we can trade future first.
Yeah.
Right? Instead, if we suck, and are in the lottery, we owe our first next year and won't be able to trade any of our future first, right? Now, if we make the playoffs, then that responsibility is extinguished because our 2022 first would convert to Chicago, so then next offseason we would be able to trade all our future first. But, if we're trying to make multiple moves at the deadline, we're going to want to get our pick back because then it will, we'll be able to trade our 2023 and 2026 first and, throw in a pick swap in there, right? Whereas we can't because our pick is protected through 2027, which means the pick we traded for Nance, even though it says 2022 first, if we're in the lottery every year, that could be a 2027 first that we owe them that year. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's hard. Yep. That's why I think that trade needs to happen. Hopefully that makes sense for everybody in chat.
Yep.
So anyway, so this one is out there. All right. Well, let's do the Simmons trade first. All right. So since we're talking about draft picks, it would allow us to do something like this, right? It would allow us to trade picks for CJ. Now, Philadelphia wants more than this, so maybe you have to give them a pick swap somewhere, or maybe a 2028 first. Philadelphia's been stingy, but I'm hopeful that Philadelphia could come down to this because I still think this is a good deal for them, which is a 2023 first, a 2026 first, 2 seconds, and CJ McCollum for Ben Simmons.
Yeah, I mean, on paper it seems fine. I just don't think Morey would end up doing this.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the contingency.
I hate Morey.
I mean, and that's the thing. Any Ben Simmons trade is dependent upon Morey not being a complete dumbass. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. But it's the longer this goes, the more likely I feel like he's going to finally stop being so stingy. I don't think he'll completely stop being stingy, but that's why I'm kind of hopeful that maybe this would be good enough because, Cleveland's been labeled as a destination for Ben Simmons, but they don't really have assets that make a ton of sense for Philly. Colin Sexton's out for the year. What else are they going to trade? They're not going to trade Garland. They're not going to trade Mobley. Jared Allen makes no sense for Philadelphia. So it's tough. The one deal that I could see being better than this for Philly, or at least in their eyes, would be De'Aaron Fox.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that or Jaylen Brown.
Or Jaylen Brown. Which, if Boston does that, then Brad Stevens is... I don't like Simmons for Boston. not for Jaylen Brown. I don't like Jaylen Brown and Tatum's fit either, but I feel like Simmons, you're just rearranging the chairs on the deck
Yeah,
and getting a worse player.
yeah, I agree. I think Boston needs to get like a playmaker, but like I wouldn't trade Jaylen Brown for that playmaker. I'd experiment just getting like a playmaker first.
Yeah, and seeing how that makes things function there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously this is a dream front court. So, obviously this trade is a dream. The third trade to cap it off, so we got Simmons, right? And we basically traded Rocco for our first back so that we could trade those first with CJ for Ben Simmons, right? And then the trade to get us Miles Turner, I have us giving up a lot here. But, I don't know. I got the Blazers trading out Norm, Nas, and Nurkic, getting back Turner and expiring. Which sounds like a lot, but if we're chasing a Simmons Holmgren Turner front court, I like it, just kind of based on that. I got the Cavs trading out Rubio, a lottery protected first, and Houston's 2022 second for Norm Powell to replace Colin Sexton's role in the starting lineup. I think Norm Powell makes a ton of sense for the Cavaliers. And then Rajon Rondo obviously is that third guard off the bench after getting traded there today. I got the Pacers trading Miles Turner and Torrey Craig, getting back Keon Johnson, first round pick from last year, Nasir Little, Cleveland's 2022 first, a Houston second, which should be early, and a Clippers second. And then I got the Clippers trading Keon Johnson and Serge Ibaka, and a second round pick for Nurkic and Torrey Craig. I don't know where y'all want to start with this because it's a 4-team trade, but I'm curious what you think about this for each team.
You want to go?
Go ahead.
So I feel like the Clippers wouldn't give up on Keon Johnson this fast. He's shown some flashes, so I feel like I'd take him out of the trade. But if they're trading Turner, they might have to include Keon. I like the center rotation, even though Hardenstein's not in it with Nurkic and Zubac. I think this is a pretty good trade. I feel like the Blazers are giving up a little too much, but I like the trade.
Yeah, with the Clippers it's weird, man, because they don't have their picks. They can't trade future first. I think it would make more sense for them to give up a future first here, but yeah, the thing is, when I was making this trade, I completely forgot about Hartenstein, and I shouldn't have. So I apologize to your boy. Maybe Zubac in this trade makes more sense, but it's tough with the Clippers. I was just trying to find a landing spot for Nurkic, right? So it doesn't even necessarily have to be a Clippers. It's just a team who's willing to give up essentially a first-round pick for Nurkic, and that's what Keon Johnson was.
Yeah.
Because I think the Pacers getting back Nas, the equivalent of 2 firsts, and then an early second is enough for Turner. So that was kind of my idea with Keon Johnson basically being the first.
But for the Clippers, they're like swapping Ibaka and Nurkic, so that's 2 expirings. But then they're trading Keon and a second for Torrey Craig, so I don't know if they would do that or not.
Yeah, I mean it's questionable. I think Nurkic is an upgrade.
For sure.
If they think they're getting Kawhi back, I could maybe see them do this. But this could be a different team. I just was struggling to figure out. Maybe Dallas wants Nurkic and is willing to give up a first. And then you throw Dallas in there, and they give up a first to Indiana. But what do you think of this trade for Cleveland? Because this could be a good Norman Powell landing spot if we really do like reshuffle the deck and trade out some pieces.
I like it. They get that shooting wing that they desperately need. I like Norm's fit next to Garland and Mobley and Allen. He's just providing that spacing. And they're giving up a lottery protected first and a second for a pretty good contract in Norm and Rubio, who's done for the year. So I like it.
What do you think, Eric?
For the Cavs, yeah, I like it. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially because if they make the playoffs, they lose their pick, but it's also protected in case they have a second half collapse and keep it. So it probably depend on me for what the future protections are, but overall, yeah, I think it's a pretty good trade. Although, despite the ACL injury, I think they're still pretty high on Rubio and hoping to keep him long term. Yeah. But overall, I like this. Fudge.
There's the good old fun. I mean, they could trade Rubio and then be like hopeful, like, okay, yeah, we're going to be able to bring him back in free agency because he isn't expiring. So they could try and do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, they got Sexton too, and what are they going to do with him? That's like the biggest question mark of this trade deadline, especially now that he's out for the year. But like, we could do something like Norm. Yeah, we could do something like Norm for Rubio into first and Houston second.
We got some breaking news.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Dennis Smith Jr. and Ben McLemore have cleared protocols and are rejoining the team.
Okay, well. That's good news. I thought you were about to say they got traded or something. I started to get excited, but that's cool too. Dennis Smith Jr. We need him with Anfernee being in protocols. So I thought it was supposed to be Trendon first, though. Like I thought it wasn't supposed to be those two guys this early.
That was just a rumor, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how it all works, man. I am not even gonna try, but that's good news. So you're probably looking at Dame, Norm, Nas, Snell, and Nance as your starting lineup, and then off the bench you got Smith, you got McLemore, you got... Who else would you play there, like, in the front court off the bench?
Probably Ellaby at the small forward, and...
Perry and Brown.
Yeah, Perry.
Yeah, Perry probably backup center. Probably play Nas at some 4 to open up more small forward minutes for Ellaby. I think that's probably the way you start Nas at the 3, and then you stagger him and Snell, bring him off the bench as the 4.
I don't mind McGriff playing a little bit, too.
Yeah. I've liked McGriff. He's been good defensively. Well, that's good. We're going to start to get players out of protocols, and it's going to be nice to have our normal players back.
Yeah. I was telling Reese this before we came on. I feel like the teams that have the worst outbreaks right now might be in the best shape a couple weeks from now and moving forward through the rest of the season.
Why is that?
Well, just because like I know you could still get it again, but if you're vaccinated and boosted, a lot of players say they've been getting boosted, and you get it anyway, I've heard that it kind of boosts your immunity even more. So it's possible that those guys, I mean, this is no scientific fact or anything, just my opinion that maybe those guys might be good for the next few months. So like the rest of the season, you wouldn't really have to worry about him. Whereas a guy like Dame or CJ who haven't gotten it yet, we might have to worry until they get it or if they're ever going to get it or not.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Like, if they get it now, then the playoffs, there won't be like a CP3 situation where he just randomly gets COVID and screws the team over. Well, he didn't really screw the team over, but just like it ruins the flow of things.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is if this team was more competitive, I'd absolutely be saying better get it now than in the playoffs. But
I wasn't saying necessarily the Blazers, but
no, I know,
just like teams in general.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like I think the Nets are going to be pretty set up, except for Kyrie won't be able to play home games. But if he was, like they'd be in pretty good shape because their whole team got it pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, we need McLemore shooting off the bench, so it's nice that we'll have him back. So that's some good news after a week of pretty much just straight bad news for us. Hopefully CJ's back too. I wonder when is what? So what is the deal with? When is the reevaluation date or whatever it is?
A couple days ago, they said it was going to be another week, so. Next week.
Was that only a couple days ago? I feel like that was almost a week ago.
They said a week last week. I think it was on Blazers Uprise Live last Thursday. They said a week because we were talking about him possibly playing Monday, and they said no, a week. And then a few days or like I think that was Tuesday or something. They said another week. So yeah, I'm not sure what's going on, but.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be nice to have him back, so maybe, I don't know, maybe the 3rd, but that's a Monday, so it's probably more looking at, like, the 5th?
Yeah.
Who do we play on the 5th? We play Miami? I don't remember. I have not.
Yeah.
See, this is why I need to pay attention to the next 5 games sheet, because I have
No,
not
we
been
really
paying any
don't.
attention. 'Cause
I know we play Atlanta on the 3rd, and then we play one of the Cavs or Heat after.
Yeah, so I mean, we get CJ back, then I think either both of those teams are solid, but that's a winnable game. And kind of close off that 4-game homestand, hopefully making up some ground if you're rooting for wins, because I know some people aren't. So yeah, it'll be nice to have some talent back on the court. Let's just jump back. That mute button does not work, Eric.
Nope, it does not.
Let's just jump back into this trade. So I like it for Cleveland. For the Pacers, do you think this is enough?
I mean, they get a couple young guys and they get a first-round pick, so I think it's
And an early second.
It's decent value, but I don't know. They seem to. It's kind of like the Simmons thing. Like if they would have been willing to accept this kind of package, I think Turner would have been off the team a couple of years ago. So I think they're kind of irrational on what they think they can get for him.
Yeah, it just depends on how they value Keon Johnson and Nasir Little. Mm-hmm. Hypothetically, you could pitch this as worth 4 first-round picks. Cleveland's first, right? Nas, Keon Johnson, and then a second-round pick that's going to be between 31 and 34. Yeah. So, and then another second-round pick on top of it. So that was my idea with Indiana, thinking this was good for them, good for Cleveland. It just depends on who that 4th team is, if it's the Clippers or another team, whatever team is willing to give up the most for Nurkic. And that could be a way we could land Miles Turner. And the idea with this is if we trade for Ben Simmons, right? If we're losing and we end up trading for Ben Simmons, but we don't really have a chance at the playoffs, part of us just wants, I can't talk. Oh my goodness. Part of me just wants us to sit out Ben Simmons for the rest of the year. But I know Dame and probably Simmons wouldn't be up for that, right? We can make a playing spot and play our way into the playoffs and make some noise. So I don't think that's realistic, but that's kind of what part of me would want, right? If we did the Simmons trade and the Turner trade, because I want Simmons, Holmgren, Turner, and because that would be insane defensively. That's my dream.
Yeah, I like that trade for the pace. Well, I like that trade for Nas specifically because, especially if Warren's injured, he's going to have a nice spot next to Sabonis. He's probably going to be their starting small forward.
I think Warren's a free agent too. So
yeah, I feel like he'd be a good small forward of the future for the Pacers.
Yeah, and Keon Johnson's an athlete.
Yeah.
So you get a couple athletes next to Sabonis, and they're young and can be part of a rebuild, or if you keep Sabonis, can maybe fit next to him. That would be interesting, I think. So, but I mean, say we pull that off and then get into the lottery, just praying for good lottery odds. If you're able to draft Chet, then I think going forward, starting lineup Dame, Simons, I think is fine. If you have Simmons, Holmgren, Turner, you got 4 good shooters next to Simmons. You got that secondary playmaker for Dame, try and use Simmons in more of a Draymond role. That could be interesting. You have a lot of size. You start 6'10", 7'1", and 7 feet at the small forward, power forward, center position, and then maybe you sign an Otto Porter Jr. to come off the bench with a Larry Nance, Jr. and obviously have to make another signing. Our depth is kind of crap there. Maybe you bring back a Macklemore or whoever just as a shooter. I think that would be interesting. Just something different.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks.
I mean, I like the creativity. I like your thoughtfulness and all the moves working together and all that kind of stuff. But it kind of all blows up if you don't get a top, 4 pick or something.
Yeah, that's the only that is the problem with it. That's why it makes, I don't know, it almost makes more sense if we're struggling to do those 2 trades if you're chasing that front court. But I mean, there's I don't know enough about the prospects outside of the top 5 in this draft.
At YYC, we will never talk Dame trades.
Nope, never.
And unless
But
he requests a trade. If he requests a trade, we will discuss what the best line of action is, but he has a lifetime pass as a Blazer from me, and I feel like Torrey would say the same thing.
yeah, and Reese would say the same thing.
For sure.
All right. So, here's the thing. If you didn't get a top pick, there are some interesting prospects, and you could play Simmons as like the 4 next to Turner and just go out and get a small forward, right? You know, are you able to draft somebody that's ready to play right away? I don't know. But you would have your full mid-level exception for sure there. Depth might be kind of thin, but like if you were able to get 4 and Jaden Ivey, I think would be interesting. I don't know. Like I like Simmons and Turner's fit, so they're fine just if that's who we end up with, I think. But like the dream is to also add Chet to that as a power forward that can shoot and block shots and defend on the perimeter and pass a little bit. So that's and Chet's skinny and that's kind of the knock on him, but I think he's fine as a 4-man right now. In the NBA, you know, he's gonna get pushed around a little bit, but as a power forward, I think he's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's inspired by Cleveland and Mobley and Allen, man.
I feel like we wouldn't. I mean, I guess Cleveland doesn't really have that, although Rubio was kind of filling that role. But I feel like we'd still be saying we need that defensive like general or someone who like commands everyone. Like we'd have good individual defenders, but not necessarily that guy who will just get in someone's face like a Draymond or a Smart or someone.
Yeah, I mean the hope is that you have the best defensive front court in the entire NBA, and I don't know if it's close. like Mobley and Allen are solid, but they're starting marketing at the 3. Like think about a potential Mobley Allen with Ben Simmons, you know, which might be what Cleveland goes after. You know, it'd just be so interesting to see how good that could be.
See, I think Jabari is more like Mobley in my opinion. So
Then Chet.
Yeah.
He's 3 inches shorter than Chet, and not like a shot blocker to me. Like he's good out on the perimeter.
He's a better
but it doesn't
perimeter,
seem
yeah, for sure.
Anywhere near the like rim protection capability as Mobley or Holmgren. Not that he's bad in that area, but like Mobley and Holmgren are just like insane, you know, as rim protectors, shot blockers.
Yeah, I guess.
But I ain't trying to hate on your guy Jabari Smith.
I know you're not. I
don't know who I have number 1 right now, honestly.
Yeah, I would just. Then it comes down to like, if we get the number 1 pick, okay, so you're taking Chet.
I just said I don't know.
No, I know.
Yes, in my scenario, I'm maybe trying to trade down to 2 or 3 and take Chet and get extra assets.
Well, what if you trade down and whoever, or what if we get 2 or 3 and someone takes Chet ahead of us?
We had this argument that like GMs can't do that. The whole Danny Ainge, Jason Tatum at 3, Philadelphia at 1 thing. Do you remember that argument that we had like over a year ago about this? I think it was like almost 2 years ago.
That was if there was an agreement in place.
Well, yeah, you'd put that agreement in place.
Okay, but
right.
I don't know. Yeah,
because that's what they did with Fultz and Tatum.
It'd have to be a situation where you knew the other team wanted someone other than Chet, but if they did that, like I don't know.
Yeah,
why would they trade then if they knew you wanted Chet?
Well, you'd have to put out the right smoke screens. You know, it's like a game of chess almost.
See, I know you disagree because of their upside for athleticism isn't there in your opinion, but I think Jabari and Banchero are going to be like true, like really good players, like definite game changers. I'm not 100% sold on Chet being that.
I mean, I think Chet just has the biggest ceiling and defensively will be fine. Like he has to put on weight to reach his potential, and that's a question mark. But if he is able to put on weight, I think he ends up being the best player from this class. Just because there's nothing in his prime. I don't see there being anything that he can't do. I think he'll be able to pass the ball really well for a big. I think he'll be able to potentially. I don't know if he'll be like a Rudy Gobert defensively, but he best case scenario, he's a Rudy Gobert defensively that can defend out on the perimeter. You know what I mean? Like, he has that type of size and that type of instincts defensively. So you couple that with a guy that can shoot and pass and handle the ball a little bit, like...
Yeah.
I guess I don't think his... Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to phrase it, but I think you're... I don't necessarily agree with you on him being an elite defender, like Rudy Gobert style. I think that's...
I mean, that's best case scenario is he's Rudy Gobert 2.0. I'm not saying that he is. That's the best case scenario. But, like, he's going to be a really good defender.
I mean, you've seen more Gonzaga games than me, so you probably know better. But to me, watching him, I don't get that same, like, oh, surefire elite defender type.
I feel like that's just because of his weight, though. Like, if he was, like, strong doing all this stuff, it'd be like, oh my goodness, he's insane, I feel like.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But, like, you see him, it's like, oh, he blocked a shot, but, like, he blocked a shot with arms that are, like, this wide around, you know?
I mean, when have I ever said anything about his weight, though? Like, I don't really care about that.
No, I know. I don't know, man, because I watch him, and it's, like, just instincts, timing, quick jumping ability, size, wingspan, like, every box to check in terms of a rim protector is, like, there for me. Right? But then he also, like, out on the perimeter, defends well, flips his hips well, is like one of those guys that can give a gap but then close it and really contest shots, and he's able to give enough of a gap where it's really hard to get by him, even for some of the quicker guys in college. And I think he'll be somebody that, if he gets switched out onto a guard, will be very competitive. As for his size, so I think he'll be just fine guarding fours, weak side shot blocker, intriguing. I don't know. Defensively, I love him. He's still not my number one prospect because there's question marks. So somebody who said I'm biased, Beavis said Torrey is too biased. If I was biased, I'd have him as my number one guy, and I don't. I don't know who my number one guy is. Yeah. But in that scenario, yes, I take Chet number one if we have Turner and Sabonis. Or not Turner. Turner and Simmons.
We're getting Sabonis now?
Yeah, dude, we're just going all bigs, man. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going Holmgren number one. Who would you go number? You would go Jabari?
I would take Jabari. Dude, getting a lights out 3-point shooter who can play perimeter defense, in my mind, would be the perfect fit for Jabari in that situation. If you're going to overcome some of his weaknesses, finishing and stuff like that.
I would rather just go all in on rim protection. I don't know. The Mobley, but okay. If Mobley and Allen didn't look so good this year, I would be more down with that. But given how good Mobley and Allen look together, that's why I'd want to Chet.
Jabari is 6'10". It's not like he's like 6'6" and we're undersized. Yeah. He's like Larry Nance playing the center or something.
No. He's not. I'm not trying to detract from him. I just don't think he's going to be an Allen or a Mobley in terms of rim protection, whereas I think Chet will be. So that's kind of where I differ on that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
but if you had Simmons, he's a decent secondary rim protector. So you wouldn't necessarily need him to be as elite as those guys. But.
Like we wouldn't need that, but it's almost like the dream is let's be the best defensive team in the entire NBA.
Sorry. All right, this season, I hate this season. Okay, 2 months ago, or 3 months ago, I guess, 2.5 months, whenever the season started.
Yeah, it's a little over 2 months ago.
Can you imagine a scenario where we were discussing before the start of 2022 that we want to be more like the Cavs than any other team? Like, let's take the Cavs blueprint and blow this all up and just do whatever the Cavs did, because they're great.
Yeah,
like I know you were kind of like saying the Cavs are going to be a sleeper, but like I can't imagine.
I know
anyone saying before the start of this season being like, what's going to be the trendy thing for teams to do is copy the Cavs from now on.
Yeah, and after last night, we ranted about Scott Brooks
Yeah.
and said we wanted a little bit more Cameron McGriff. Yeah, yeah, this season is crazy. Shout out Great Hughes Investigates, $5 dono says, if the Blazers tank, is our pick protected if it's in the lottery? That is correct, Gray. If we're in the lottery, we keep our pick.
So basically,
the
make
top
the
14.
playoffs. Our pick goes to Chicago. Miss the playoffs, we keep it, and the same scenario plays out the next 5 years.
Yeah, so pretty simple actually with our protections on that pick. It just makes it harder to trade future first. But yeah, I like I don't know. There's a clear cut top 4 in the draft, and I don't know who's my number 1. Honestly, we'll have to talk draft more, but I mean even Paulo. I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about Paulo.
Yeah, that sweating issue is a problem for me.
The sweat is an issue for you. I don't know. I watched that, like, Brian Stutterer or whoever.
Oh.
Suterer, however
Yeah.
you say his name. He did a video on that kind of made me worry about that less. So you should watch it, Reese. I like his videos. Like, he's like a doctor that goes in depth on like player injuries and what it means and timetables, recoveries, that sort of thing. Like, explains things from a medical perspective. So really interesting guy to watch. I'm sure some of you know who he is. But nah, man, Paulo, just like, he's skilled and he's not a bad athlete, but I don't know, man. Like, on the next level, is he going to have the like ball handling creation ability and or the separation ability athletically to really be like a 25 point per game guy?
I think it could be. I don't know. I see a lot that's mentioned in chat, but I see a lot of Tatum in him.
Yeah, but like Tatum was like a better ball handler at his age. And a little quicker.
Tatum wasn't like great at Duke.
It wasn't great, but he could handle the ball better. Like, dude, I fell in love with Tatum his junior year in high school, man. I was on board the Tatum train like extremely early. The disappointing thing is he was like looked much better as a passer in high school than he does now, so he hasn't developed in that area at all like I thought he would. But Tatum was just like a little bit more slippery, a little better ball handler, a little quicker. Paulo, it's like he'll like get a little bit of a step and just put his shoulder onto guys and finish. You know what I mean? Which works in college and will work in the NBA, but I feel like unless you're like a really shifty / great ball handler, or if you have some sort of athletic separator, it's hard to be like a true elite scorer in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my concern with him.
Yeah.
Valid concern.
Trevin says Paulo is Tobias Harris. I got Tobias. I got a little bit of Tobias Harris vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When I watch him, dude, and that's what kind of scares me, I guess.
As fun as this conversation is, I'm sorry, but I gotta get back to work.
We're just spitting random stuff. So anyway, we'll catch you guys again tomorrow on the post-game show, assuming that game is played. That'll be New Year's Eve, last stream of 2021. So thank you for tuning in for this episode of Blazers Up Res Live. Thank you, Reese. Reese, what are your final words, man, on your first live stream?
Thank you to Tori and Eric for inviting me, and it was fun to be here.
Dude, he's more well-spoken than us, Eric. He's coming for our jobs. Anyway, yeah, thanks for joining us, Reese. Anything else you want to say, Eric, before I hit the end screen?
Yeah, hope to see you all tomorrow night for a little bit after the game. And, hopefully the Blazers play a little better than they have the last couple games.
Fingers crossed for that. Thank you for making us a part of your Thursday. We'll catch you tomorrow. As always, peace out. Go Blazers.